I feel paralyzed.
Yo, what's going on guys? Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be showing you how to make YouTube videos within Adobe Premiere Pro and hopefully showing you a few skills that you can use when making your videos and hopefully how to make them look good. So basically today we're going to be covering the basics, the moving video around, importing it, cutting it up, and syncing audio and video. So just a few things that you guys are going to need to get started. Then if this does go down well, we will definitely go about making a second tutorial with how to do more in-depth things like image overlays, transitions, and video effects, and different stuff like that. So what we're going to need to do firstly is open Adobe Premiere Pro. Sometimes this does take a while. So whilst this is jumping, I'm just going to quickly open my files, get these ready. Luckily I have got a second monitor, so I just shift it over here so I can use it full screen and grab all my audio and video that I need. Now over here what we're going to need to do is click on new project, name it what you want, tutorial 1 is what I'm going to call it. I've already done this though, it will overwrite, that's fine. And then in terms of making it 1080p 60 fps, we cover all of that at the end, so don't worry about that now. Just get your video ready, get it started and click OK. So yes, we're going to overwrite this because I've already done this a couple of times. So what we're going to need to do is we are going to import some footage. So I have got some Minecraft footage here from a video a couple of days ago, which is what I'm going to be using just to showcase you guys a few things. First tip for you guys, basically, there's a box here on the right and there's a box here on the left at the bottom. One says drop media here to create sequence and one says import media to start. Now you can actually just drop it in here. You can do that, wouldn't recommend it though because I've done it a few times, especially with longer and bigger files, and they don't sync as well, and I don't know, I usually have problems with the audio not syncing with the video, so definitely worth putting it in the left hand side first. That's definitely my first tip and I'd really recommend doing that. So I'm going to just drag and drop this Minecraft video gameplay. Another thing, I am recording video and audio separately. So within this video file, I've got the in-game audio, if that makes sense. So all the Minecraft stuff and the stuff from my computer. And then separately, I've got my audio from me speaking. So that's really something I can recommend for you guys. Obviously, again, like I said before, they can go out of sync, video and audio. So it's a better way to do it, just so you can make sure your voice is synced with the footage that you're using. Definitely worth trying to do if you can do that. If you can't, no problem at all. Definitely just use it all in one footage. It shouldn't be one problem, it shouldn't be a big thing. But, if you do get the money to invest in a microphone and in a different piece of recording software, you can record them both separately. But anyway, enough about that. I'm going to grab my audio file now. I think for this episode I named it HA Dragon. There we go, and I'll drag and drop that in here as well. Now sometimes if it's a bigger bit of footage, you'll see down in the bottom right hand side, it will say encoding or importing. Just wait for that to finish. Don't mess about with the footage yet because it's trying to import into Adobe Premiere Pro. Don't mess about with it because that is what can cause a few problems sometimes. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do now is we're going to drag this and drop it in the box on the right hand side. You'll see it imports, then it splits into two components on the left hand side here. You've got the video component and the audio component. Don't worry about that, that always happens. That's basically just showing that it's made out of two different types of file. Now, going to do the same with the audio, going to drag and drop that in here. Now you see the audio can't go above, it has to go below. And that's one thing that Adobe Premiere Pro and a lot of editing software does quite well. It splits the video and the audio apart. So at the top you've got the 3 boxes for video, you can add more, and at the bottom you've got 3 boxes for audio. So if you want to put audio in, just remember it goes at the bottom. If you want to put video in, it goes at the top. So don't get stressed out being like, why is it not going in the top? It just always goes at the bottom. Now, we will be covering this next time if we do another tutorial, but you'll see you can basically spread this out. So you can put the video part into one of the 3 different bits. So 1, 2, 3. That is the order which the viewer, or you yourself, will see it in. So if this is taking up the whole screen and you put it there, you're not going to see the 2 bits behind it, if that makes sense. So 3 is at the top and 1 is at the bottom. But because we're not doing overlays or anything like that now, we don't need to worry about that. So just leave it where it is and that should be absolutely fine. Then, another thing you're going to need to do, or another thing you're going to need to learn, is the tools that we're going to need to use. Now, this is the bar of tools, but there are 2 main ones which we're going to cover today. You don't really need to mess with anything else. I use the other ones a little bit, but to be honest, 99% of the time I'm using these 2 tools. So number 1 is just this. literally just a selection tool. It's just like a cursor on your home screen. You use it to move the footage about, split it apart, and yeah, so that's just used for anything, and that's your default tool. That's what you're always using. So obviously you don't really need to learn too much about that, but that's what you use to move the footage around. Then the second one is this, which is a razor tool. The razor basically cuts the footage in a certain line. So say you want to sync your audio, which I'm going to show you guys in a second. You use that to cut just before or just after, and you select a certain point. So say I want to cut at 1 minute, so there's 59 seconds there, it'll be about here. I'll cut that, I'll click, and it will cause a perfect line between them, which you'll see, hopefully, is a certain audio that's just before you start speaking or something like that. So that's one thing to bear in mind. Again, another thing you could use it for is if you've got a big bit of footage and you're trying to select a little bit. So for example, the other day I was making a montage. I wanted to show a clip where I was getting a 3-piece with the gun, or getting kills with the gun. I'd click just before I started getting the kills and just after, and then I'd delete the footage before and after that part. So say I wanted this little bit here, we're just doing this randomly now. That's the bit that we want. Then we click on the other bit with the selection tool and click delete. And we could do the same with a bit after, click delete. So then we've got that certain bit of footage with the stuff that we want to see. Now obviously I don't want that, so another thing you're going to need to use, if you guys probably know this, just basic edit undo. That gets rid of what you've done. And obviously I don't want these two cuts either, so I'm going to get rid of both of those as well. And there we go. You can see that it just gets rid of everything and makes everything a little bit easier and a little bit better. So another thing is how to sync your audio and video. So now you guys know how to import footage correctly without it corrupting, how to put it in the timeline, which is this area, this is the timeline, how to move it around, cut it up, which you can really experiment with yourself. It's quite nice to try and learn to do that, but now I'm going to be showing you how to sync audio and video if that is what you're needing to do or what you want to focus on. Just quickly before we get into that, this is the timeline view scale. So you'll see if I pull it all the way out here, you can see this hole that's showing us basically half an hour of footage. It's not very specific though, so you're seeing everything that's going on, and that looks great because you can see everything you put in and watch it all. But if you're trying to focus on a certain area, you really got to narrow it down, and you can view it almost to the second. You see here, point something of a second. This is crazy, and you can really be specific with where you're cutting the video if you want to cut it in a certain place. But what we're going to do now is we're going to sync the audio and the video. So I'm going to have to jump over here. What I do with my audio and video is when I start recording, I say escape, back to game, escape, back to game. What that means is when I'm saying that in my voice, I'm doing the same thing on the screen. So I'm clicking escape, then I'm clicking back to game. And that causes me to be able to sync the two of them perfectly together. So for the rest of the video, my audio isn't going to go out of sync with the game because they're perfectly synced from the start. So we're going to quickly try and find that. We're going to utilize what we've learned about the selection tool and the razor tool to cut this up and to make sure they're both aligned. So let's have a quick look. If we look at the video first, you'll see here I'm just pressing escape just then. So there we go, perfectly pressing escape. So you want to even narrow it down slightly more, make it even smaller, so you want it to be specific. And you find the point just at which I'm clicking escape. So I want to go just before that. Then I click on the razor tool, click on that specific area, boom. And that means if we start the video from here, that is when I'm clicking escape. So we're going to delete the bit at the start because we don't need that, so we just click it with the selection tool and then click delete. And then what we're going to do is the same with the audio. So now with the audio, I've got to find the point at which I say escape back to game. So let's have a listen. Escape. There we go. So I'm going to try and find the point just before where I say escape. 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 So that sounds pretty good. I'm going to narrow it down a little bit. Escape. And then I'm going to use the razor tool to cut the audio, which is the green box below. Don't cut the video there. You've got to just click on the audio only. That should be just before where I'm saying escape. So you're going to delete the bit at the start again. And then we're going to jump over here and drag the audio file, or the WAV file, back in line with the video. Now you see it's pretty snappy. That's one good thing about Premiere Pro. It just snaps it into place, so they're perfectly linked. You'll see the black line there, and that's where you want it to be. So let's see if this is synced. Escape, back to game, escape, back to game. So there we go. That is perfect. Now they're synced. And now what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to try and find the point at which I start the video. So obviously I don't want to be showing you guys where I'm saying escape, back to game. I want to be showing you the start of the video where I'm like, yo, what's going on, people? And, you know, the nice inviting bit at the start. So now we're going to look with this and use that to try and find where I start the video. So it's going to be somewhere about here. Jeez, that was a real voice crack. I'm just okay. Now we are synced. So this is just before the video starts.
Look up.
Oh, okay, Jesus. Alright. I'll try and do this. So I'm just waiting until I start the video. Yo! So yo is just, I just want to start just before I say yo, because that's the nice inviting bit at the start that I want to include. Yo, what is up? Don't want to have the breathing. Yo, what is up, people? So there we go, that's perfect. So that's just as I'm saying yo, just before. I'm going to click cut on the top two and cut on the bottom. Now I'm going to delete the start of both of them. And there we go. There should be a perfect video start, which is perfectly synced and all in line. Yo, what is up, people? Welcome back to some more Hopeless Adventures today. I am joined by Zach again, and Zach. There we go. So that is perfectly synced. You can see that I'm starting the footage whilst I'm speaking, and it is all working pretty well. Now, something else I'm going to quickly do. Obviously, I'm not going to show you guys how to make an intro or whatever at the moment. We're going to drag that down over here, though. As I said, don't drop it in at the left, drop it in here. Sorry, don't drop it in the right, drop it over here on the left. Wait for it to import, and then drag it in. Luckily, I've got an intro for myself. You guys, you can possibly get that. There are loads of ways to do that, and that's quite a nice way to start the video. So I'm going to pull this back over here. I do also mess about with the audio as well. That's one thing that I like to focus on, making sure the audio is not clipping, going on the red line. But that's another thing which I'm not going to show you guys for the time being. I'll just quickly do it so it's not exploding. Actually, you know what? It's fine. And then hopefully this should be a great start to a video. So let's give this a go.
Do you want to know a secret?
So there we go. We've got the intro. Yo, what is up, people? Welcome back to some more directly into the video. They're perfectly synced, and that is basically the beginnings of making a video. Now, if you don't want to mess about with anything else, and if this is your first time making videos, that is all you need. You don't even need an intro. If you've got synced audio, nice video quality, you just put the two together, and that is the basics of how to do this. Now, to be honest, you could do the same in Windows Movie Maker. Is not as easy to cut and sync video in Windows Movie Maker. It's you can't have different layers, and it's a bit harder. So I would recommend trying to get Premiere Pro if you can. And it's much better for using, you know, when you use it to do different things like effects, and it has loads of different options there when you actually get more in depth with the video production. But that is the basics of how to do that. Obviously, I have an ending as well where I input a nice little piece at the end showcasing my previous two videos. I'll show you guys how to do that in the next tutorial if we do have one, if you do like it. So if you guys did enjoy this, make sure to leave a thumbs up, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, and leave a comment if you enjoyed it, or leave a comment asking if you want to see anything else, any other tutorials specifically. I could show you how I make my thumbnails, I could show you how to make titles and use effects in Premiere Pro, show you how to use OBS, loads of different things that I use on a day-to-day basis when I'm recording and making my YouTube videos. So there we go, people. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, again, make sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.